You heard that right. The prayers of watch enthusiasts are set to be answered. The waiting list should drastically reduce, and most importantly, more people will get their hands on the scarce models. Nevertheless, behind the celebrations that will undoubtedly result from this new breakthrough, some critical issues must be addressed. Walk with us as we give a plausible outcome. The brand was always keen on satisfying customers, right? But thanks to its production output, a sudden surge in production would mean Rolex would have had to cut corners. Cutting corners in this context would mean a lower quality product, and it's something Rolex was never willing to compromise. Would you even pay top dollars for lower quality? In the latter months of last year, Rolex had the watch world at a standstill. In a move that sent goosebumps to every watch collector or enthusiast, the brand entered the rapidly growing certified pre-owned market, supplying the inventory of its authorized dealers with a lot more options to sell. With many appraisals from every Tom, Dick and Harry that cares about the watch world, the certified pre-owned program was met with welcome arms. Eric Wind, the owner of Wind Vintage, a high-end pre-owned watch dealer, heaped praises on the program. In light of the demand for Rolex watches being significantly weightier than the supply, he expresses it as a welcome news to watch lovers that Rolex is expanding. Keep watching today's video to learn more about Rolex's new scheme and everything in between. Go around and ask several fans of Rolex to describe the shortcomings of their favorite watch brand. You'd discover a lot, if not all of them, would complain about the scarcity of several offerings from the brand. For years, Rolexes have been unable to go around. Just like the majority of private companies run by a foundation, releasing its financials isn't compulsory, and Rolex uses that option. Failing to release its financials or production numbers, no one truly knows Rolex's annual numbers, but that doesn't mean they can't be estimated by analysts. While it's not confirmed by the watchmaker itself, the brand is believed to produce around 1 million watches annually. With such numbers, how on earth are they not going around? Adding fuel to the flame of mystery surrounding the scarcity, do you know Rolex doesn't even produce any limited edition watches that exponentially spur demand? The likes of Air Kings, Day Dates, and Daytonas are in crippling short supply around the world, despite being produced in large quantities. Take the Rolex Daytona, for example. It's one of the most popular models from Rolex ever, and it is estimated that Rolex produces between 20,000 to 40,000 Daytonas annually, including platinum, steel, and gold models. However, due to how the widespread demand eclipses the supply, getting your hands on one is a legendary quest that will surely test your patience and perseverance. So let's analyze just how severe the scarcity is. After all, one would expect an annual production output of 1 million watches to be enough, right? To start with, Rolex is exponentially popular across the globe. As a matter of fact, it's arguably the most popular watch brand on Earth. Rolex lovers, enthusiasts, and buyers can be found in all of the major countries in the world, hence the demand is widespread. It isn't a feature of any specific geographical area or culture. Around 1.1% of adults on Earth are millionaires. Surely we do understand buying a typical Rolex timepiece wouldn't fetch $1 million from you, but where are we going with this? With that statistic, despite being in excess of 1%, only 56 million people on Earth represent 46% of the entire planet's wealth. Regardless of how dressier or not the average rich person is, you'd be surprised to see she has a high-end watch in his collection. And who doesn't want a Rolex? If only 1% of the wealthy 1% buy a Rolex annually, that means 560,000 people on Earth bought one. Rolex makes 1 million watches annually, with 560,000 already guaranteed. That means there are fewer than 2 Rolex watches available to each person per year. With not enough to go around, that's why the wait lists never seem to come to an end. We haven't even talked about the true majority, Rolex consumers outside the global 1% of adult millionaires, some of which either own or actively seek to own hundreds of Rolex watches. It's increasingly evident that the major reason Rolex watches never seem to be enough, despite having an output far greater than so many high-end watch brands, is that its supply never seems to match up to the demand. At the end of the day, it all boils down to being a game of numbers. But make no mistake, it is a sign that things wouldn't change anytime soon. However, in response to the problem, Rolex has finally panned out a big solution: an increase in production. After all, it's a game of numbers. Not only has the brand set up plans to open brand new manufacturing facilities, but they're reportedly taking things up a notch by hiring more employees and more automated machinery. According to reports, Rolex also plans to ensure sustainability by investing in renewable energy sources while adopting new technologies to reduce its environmental impact. In addition to that, the brand has reportedly announced that it would be expanding its retail network, both physical and virtual stores, to meet the ever-growing demand. Finally, Rolex would heavily invest in research and development to stay ahead of the competition while producing top-of-the-line watches. All of these point to the direction that Rolex is finally being serious about bridging the gap between supply and demand, especially given the fact the number of wealthy people across the globe is rapidly rising, which would only further drive the demand for luxury statements even higher. As for its commitment to sustainability, we consider this an overwhelming positive. Not many brands out there truly focus on eco-friendly manufacturing products. All in all, the big change for the Swiss watchmaking giants has to be the 3 new temporary production facilities for its watches. Based in the Swiss state of Fribourg in western Switzerland, with production to begin as early as 2025, is there anything more exciting than that at the moment? Rolex is keeping its inner workings close to its chest though. Yahoo Finance reached out to the brand to speak more on the fascinating developments in store for the watch industry, but they declined to throw more light on it. Rolex surely knows how to keep us guessing. At the moment, Rolex operates 4 Swiss-based facilities. The famous headquarters in Geneva, its Bienne site, is responsible for producing the brand's mechanical movements. The Planier site manufactures bracelets and cases, and finally, the Schönberg site makes dials and performs gem setting. With that in mind, Rolex has recently confirmed its plan to build another facility, a permanent one based in Buhl, Switzerland. In a statement to Bloomberg, Rolex also disclosed what enthusiasts and fans should expect. According to them, the Buhl site, just like 3 new temporary facilities, would provide the brand with the means to meet its ever-growing demand, support growth, and more importantly, increase its production output. With the statement further buttressing Rolex's resolve to cripple the age-old foe of an underwhelming supply meeting up to the high sky demand, we can't wait till everything starts to play out. Then again, it brings to mind the cries from the brand when the difficult situation was almost getting on everyone's nerves. In late 2021, when the brand talked about why it's been stuck between a rock and a hard place regarding its production crisis, here's what they had to say. Our current production cannot meet the existing demand in an exhaustive way, at least not without reducing the quality of our watches, something we refuse to do as the quality of our products must never be compromised. Typically, Rolex watches are hand-assembled with expected delicate care. For years, the brand has maintained a high-quality standard in watchmaking, and everyone knows Rolex watches perform so well. If they were to succumb to the pressure of fans, what do you think would have happened? Moving on though, in light of the planned increase in production, have you been wondering how many Rolex watches the brand would be making now? The truth is that no one truly knows. Just as we discussed earlier, Rolex is a private company and they don't release their financials or production output. Having said that, Rolex wouldn't be expected to disclose their performances now, but we should expect a significant upgrade in the current situation. As for the million-dollar question of whether or not the hard-to-find models would be more easily available, what should we expect? Again, this is pure speculation, but we should also expect another significant upgrade to the current situation. It may be presumptuous, but that's the entire process of increasing productivity in the first place. What you would be wrong about, though, is expecting an immediate change. An increase in productivity can't happen overnight. Consumers would truly feel the effects of Rolex's plans around 2025 when the brand confirmed the facilities would start functioning in full swing. Plus, even when the temporary facilities start working at full power, it would still take a while for the all-important timepieces to be dolled up in the boutiques of authorized dealers. All we need to do is patiently wait for Rolex. It's the least we can do. After all, the company has finally taken clear measures to demonstrate to its fans that it intends to put its timepieces where they shine the brightest, on man's wrists.